getting ready to do our first start on here and our first cuts. So the very first thing you got to do, they don't come with oil in them. You got to put oil in them. And my mill didn't come with oil. I thought it would have. Usually Kohler would send oil with theirs, but it didn't. I had a cool funnel thing that normally screws onto the lid of the oil, but of course it didn't fit the oil that I put in it. Don't put synthetic in the first run. You're going to change the oil after 5 hours. Your first 5 hours, use standard motor oil. Don't use synthetic on it yet. In fact, in these small engines, I don't know if synthetic would ever really be necessary on them. So the water tank up top holds about 2 gallons, and then the fuel tank maybe holds a gallon, probably not even that much. Here I'm adjusting the flow. I turned mine on, so it was just basically a weak stream. If I had water nearby, I would turn it up even higher. But since I have to bring mine up in jugs, I decided not to. But here's first start. Alright, I'm going to load it with a loader. I am not stripping the bark off the trees. I'll strip off easy bark, but I don't strip off difficult bark. It's all in what your time is worth, I guess, and how dirty your bark is. And it's basically blade length. Is the life of the blade is what's going to be affected by running through bark. A really high-end machine would have a bark remover that removes the bark. It's like a wheel, kind of like the wheel you would dress a grinding wheel with. It's kind of like that strips bark right where it's going to cut. And that may be something that we can make for this thing later, so that it will basically clean it as you're cutting. If you're going to do live living edge stuff, you wouldn't want to do that because it really messes with the edge of the tree on that side. But if you're making lumber, it would be a handy tool. But I've cut quite a bit, not stripping the bark, and it doesn't seem to affect it too much. Alright, now I'm just going to start cutting them in fast forward. I'm going to put some stock music on for a little bit because really I don't have much else to tell you other than I'm going to answer a couple questions real quick first that people have had. I'm actually redoing this video because I had some music on here before that was my friend's band, and he had a production company do some of his music, and apparently now they own his music, which is just kind of odd. So I can't use his music anymore, so I'm pulling that. I had to pull that video down and reissue the video with this, so I'm going to just put some YouTube stock video on it. But to answer some of the questions that I've been getting about this, do I regret making my trailer so wide? And I don't. It is a little bit, it's not too much of a hassle using it, but it definitely, I do have to step around, like the axle, as you can see there. But I don't, because I have to side hill, and I have a wood chipper that has the same axle that the Woodland Mills trailer would have, and it falls over when I side hill on this property with it. So I have to be extremely careful with it, to the point where I think I'm going to build a new trailer for it, because it's frustrating when it falls over. I mean, at half a mile an hour, it'll just literally fall over, and I have to go try to get it back up, and it's extremely heavy. And I didn't want that. That's the same axle that would have been on this, and I do not. I mean, the last thing in the world you would want to do is have this thing fall over, and that would just destroy the cutting head on this thing. So, okay, so with the trailer, no, I don't regret building that wide in my scenario. Your scenario may be different, so that could change. I do plan on building a building right where this thing is sitting. We're going to do a shipping container building, and we're going to have a roof in between. So it's going to be 40-foot roof in between two shipping containers. That's what's going to be up here, and I'm going to put this mill in there, and then I'm going to permanently mount it, and we're actually going to extend it to a 20-foot bed. So that's going to be really cool. All of that process is going to be pretty cool. Doing that. So anyway, here's some music while you watch me cut up this log. I'm making 1x6s right here.
Beautiful day now. It was really nasty this morning. This is up where my sawmill is, so I have a terrible view. While I'm operating the sawmill, I had turkeys and deer and stuff coming up, and as soon as you turn the mill off, they leave. They don't trust you when you're not making a bunch of noise for some reason. But you know, it is what it is. Anyway, so it went really well yesterday, way better than I was expecting. It's really fast to do this, a lot faster than I was expecting, but there are a couple things that I want to point out. One, have a blower nearby, that 20-volt DeWalt blower that I use in my shop a lot. It's like technically it's a leaf blower. It would be a pretty lousy leaf blower, but it would work really good in this and for this. Just to blow off all the sawdust so you don't, when it rains on it at night, you don't have sawdust mud. And then the transition here from rail to rail, it's not exactly the same. One's just slightly taller than the other, so I'm gonna file my transition. It doesn't make really a difference in the cut, but I don't like feeling it. I kept walking around thinking I was hitting the stop because as soon as I'd touch it, I didn't want to push because it cuts so smoothly. All of a sudden, you just feel this tiny bit of resistance, and you're like, "Oh, what's that? What's going on?" And that's all it was. It's just going over this. So you'd probably get used to it, but at the same time, I'm gonna smooth mine out. Problem with doing that is it is going to rust there after you do that because you'll be through the zinc. I'm going to go ahead and sacrifice it because I just want it to be smooth, just so I don't think I'm screwing something up. Then the other thing that happened with mine, the little guides in here that keep the blade centered, they came loose. I don't think they wore out, but they came loose, so they're loose now. So I'm going to loosen them all up, make sure that the blade is tight, and then I'm going to reset them, push them up against there, and I'm going to tighten them down a little bit more than I did last time. I didn't tighten them very tight last time, and I think that's what caused that to happen. But there's 4 of them, 2 on either side. There's 3 Allen screws each. They're 5/32 Allen screw. And then the very last thing, when I go to put the cover on, I have to cover my scale here, and I did cut that off at a 45-degree angle so that it's not so sharp. And then I put this piece of rubber on with this, I think it's like a hose carrier or cord carrier thing. It's basically a zip tie with a handle. I just put that on there to hold it. That way it doesn't punch through the cover, because it will. That's really the worst thing about this whole thing, was just that cover was guaranteed to get damaged by that. And then on the other side, I actually put a couple pieces as well. You could get a full sheet of it. They sell that rubber padding. It's 1/4 inch thick rubber. It's stall matting. They sell it at farm and feed stores. It's actually really inexpensive. They sell it by the foot, so it's 4 feet wide, and then you just buy however many feet you want. It's pretty good stuff. So you could just actually get a big sheet and lay it over it before you put your cover on, instead of just trying to do little pieces like I did. But I just happen to have little pieces, so that's why I did it that way. So really nice, really fun stuff. With the backhoe loading, it actually isn't bad. I'm not a really experienced backhoe operator, but it was actually really easy loading the logs without hitting stuff. Mine has a turtle mode, so I can flip the switch onto turtle mode, so it makes everything move real slow, which helps until you get really comfortable with your backhoe. I think it would actually be easier if you had like a little Kubota or something loading the logs. I think the big one is, I don't know, maybe it's fine, but I feel like it would be easier with like a little excavator or something. I feel like I have a little bit more precision with those when I use those, but who knows. So yep, there it is. So really cool stuff. That is 2 logs worth right there, including the dunnage it's sitting on. That was just two logs. They're not even particularly big logs. They were probably, well, you can see the width. They're live edge, so that's about maybe 14 inches across. Other than the big forks where it was forked, I milled it. I thought that would look cool. We're going to paint the background dark green and then put the live edge out so that you can see it. I wasn't 100% sure if I was even going to use this or not, because I didn't know how good I was going to be at that mill at first, but it is so easy, Just definitely pay attention at first until you get the hang of everything, so you don't wipe a blade out on a stop or something.
Remember to comment below if you have any questions or if there's a part of this mill I'm overlooking or I'm just not getting in the shot that you'd like to see. I'm going to make another video on this one somewhat soon, but I'm going to get quite a bit of experience down on it, so that way I can give you some pointers of areas that maybe are wearing out or mistakes I've been making or anything like that that comes up. Thanks for watching. Remember, subscribe and thumbs up the video. It helps us YouTubers out a lot when you do that. Thanks a lot. We'll see you again soon.